Hello and welcome everyone to what I hope is the first of many Business IT Solutions webinars. Thank you all for taking the time out of your day to join us. I know it's lunchtime, so I truly appreciate you being here. Since we pride ourselves on being a proactive and not a reactive IT company, I think it would be helpful to walk through a few services that may either complement what you already have in place or introduce you to something new that you might want to add to your service stack. If anything is unclear during the presentation, don't worry, just reach out to your account manager afterwards, which happens to be me, and feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email, and I'll be here to help you. I know that cyber insurance and compliance are major topics in the automotive industry right now. With the final pieces we'll talk about today, you'll be eligible to acquire cyber insurance through services and tools we provide, and likely at a much better rate than what you're currently paying. To kick things off, I'm going to play a short pre-recorded video that gives you a brief overview of how Business IT Solutions got started and where we are today. And full transparency, I'm a tech nerd first and a public speaker dead last. So I figured that a video was the safest move.
Before we begin today's meeting, I'd like to take a moment to introduce myself and walk you through the evolution of Business IT Solutions. My name is Aaron Bonallo, and as some of you may know, I am Dan's son. Dan founded our business in 1995, and I officially joined the team at 18. My passion for computers started in an early age, initially driven by my love for video games. In fact, I built my first PC just to play them, only to realize I was more fascinated by building and optimizing the system than actually playing the games themselves. In the late 90s and early 2000s, we began working closely with the automotive industry, providing IT consulting and support for their computers, infrastructure, and technology needs in an ever-evolving digital world. Back then, a typical workday for me, Dan, and Mike involved driving around from client to client, troubleshooting issues like upgrading memory, replacing hard drives, and handling cabling. At that time, the biggest software threats we encountered were simple viruses, often created just to cause frustration. Then you fast forward to 2020, and the landscape had completely changed. Ransomware had become big business. Cyber criminals were no longer just causing minor disruptions. They were infiltrating networks, encrypting data, and demanding payment to restore access. This shift made us realize that the traditional break-fix model approach was no longer enough. To stay ahead of these threats, we transitioned all of our customers to a managed service model, implementing advanced dashboards and security software that gave us real-time visibility into our clients' systems, allowing us to proactively prevent and address threats before they became serious. In today's meeting, we'll focus on employee protection, training, and awareness key elements in maintaining cybersecurity and safeguarding your business. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to the discussion. Thank you.
So now I'm going to pass it over to Marcus. He is actually a senior solution specialist for SaaS security and backup, and he's going to walk you through an overview of all these software solutions, how they work together. And don't worry, he won't dive too deep into the technical weeds. So we'll be pausing after each section for questions, so feel free to type them in the chat at any point on your screen. All right, let's get started.
All right, perfect. Well, pleasure to meet everybody here. So I'm a senior solution specialist for SaaS security and backup products. So mostly around Microsoft 365 and also Google Workspace. So I'm going to go through a few slides here, and of course, we'll stop through each and every single individual segment to ask if there's any questions, so you can post right here in the chat, of course. But to kind of go over the overview on making sure that we are protected when it comes to these SaaS-based environments, mostly around Microsoft and Google. And I have a few examples here of the cost of making sure that all of our users are protected from a security standpoint. So usually when it comes to stolen credentials and compromised logins, that leads to threat vectors for hackers to be able to come in and be able to release any sort of malicious content. So this malicious content can be really detrimental when it comes to a business, whether it comes in the form of a phishing attack, a business email compromise, or any sort of executive spoofing attempt within your organization. So usually when it comes to the average business email compromise attack, it usually costs, internal IT departments and businesses about $84,000 for those type of attacks there. And so, and not only will this affect you just from a financial standpoint, but also you have to worry about lost downtime and productivity. So really what we want to do is that we want to be able to prevent from these type of attacks. And just to list off a couple examples of a few of them, on the Microsoft side, when it comes to the recent attack when it came to Windows Quick Assist, where cyber criminals would act as IT support staff. And what they would do is that they would use Microsoft Quick Assist or Microsoft Teams to be able to pose as IT support to steal that user's credential when it comes to their passwords or any sort of other crucial login information. So once those criminals, they're able to access that information, they're able to deploy ransomware towards their whole entire Microsoft environment here. So you can see the type of sophisticated attacks that hackers are being able to utilize here. Um, Also in the case here too with the dark beam data breach where at least 3.8 billion records were exposed. So when it came to specific password, usernames, phone numbers, and even social security numbers were located during that breach. So with this, hackers can use that information to be able to pose as that person to be able to access other information such as credit card information, also bank information as well, and not just logins here. So typically, when we did a recent data breach investigation from 2024, is that we realized that 70% of security incidents were tied to non-malicious human factors, right? So including, errors for users just falling victim themselves to falling for a phishing attack or them accidentally giving out their credentials to somebody that they thought was a trusted individual that later turned to be a hacker that would eventually lead to an eventual compromise here. And to break down the subscription components here of what we have everything that you can provide to prevent, respond, and recover from these user-based threats. And we broke it down into three main pillars. First, prevent, respond, and recover. So the prevent side is going to be components that are taking preventative actions before they reach your email tenants like Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace. So with that, we're going to have anti-phishing and anti-spam. We're also going to have user awareness training and susceptibility testing. So that way we can make sure that users know what to look out for and are trained sufficiently on these type of attacks. On top of that, we'll also have 24/7 dark web monitoring so we can look out for any password hits or personal identifiable information that may be floating out there in the dark web. So that way we can be notified of that before cyber criminals eventually attack. And onto the response side. So this is how we can catch user related security incidents in real time as soon as they are happening within inside your SaaS-based environments. So in the event, if you need to have proactive event alerting, if there is a suspicious login on a Google Workspace account at 3 a.m. in the morning, we can be able to detect for that. But not only that, we can be able to remediate for those incidents as well. So in the case if there is a suspicious login from outside of the country, we can be able to block the account session as soon as that is happening. So think about that as like your own little AI security analyst that's able to automatically do that for you. And lastly is recover. So for SaaS backup, um, what we have realized is that Microsoft and Google that they'll typically have at least a 14 to 30-day policy where if you delete anything from their environments, then you basically your data is permanently deleted. So with our SaaS backup, we're able to recover that data to an unlimited point of retention. So that way you can be able to recover it from any sort of data loss incident here. So I'm going to go into the individual components here. Um, and the first piece we'll go ahead and take a look at on the prevent side. We're going to take a look at our phishing training and cybersecurity awareness. So with this, with our platform, we're going to provide proactive phishing simulations and also training content here because we realize that 90% of security breaches, of course, are going to be the result of human error. And that's the number one cause for these cybersecurity related incidents. So a user within your organization falling for a phishing attack and then giving out their credit card information or bank information. Well, with this, we can send out automated phishing simulation that is going to resemble companies that you'll typically see within everyday life. So some from like Amazon, Adobe, and American Express, for example. And with that, you can be able to automate out those phishing simulations. So with that, you're always going to have that ongoing content sent out, and you're going to be notified when users have fell for that phishing simulation. And with this can notify you if that user does need any sort of additional training, so that way they know what to look out for. And with this will connect right within your M365 Google Workspace tenant seamlessly. And of course, we're going to have the pre-built training content and these simulations here to go along with it. And with this, it allows for easy management. And this will also be able to customize these email templates to your needs. And we have 120 phishing simulations, and we have about 130 training content videos that you can also be able to utilize. So let's say, for example, if a user does fail a cybersecurity awareness training, we can be able to automatically enroll them in new content and also be notified if they pass or failed that test. And with this, you'll also be able to satisfy compliance and cyber insurance requirements, whether it pertains to GDPR, NIST, or HIPAA here. And to jump on to the next piece within Prevent, and this is going to be our anti-phishing defense tool for Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace. So of course, making sure that our users are trained on what to look out for is going to be the biggest piece. But how do we automatically make sure that if they do fall for a phishing attack, then we know how to be able to block it out for the whole entire email tenant? And that's exactly what our platform here is going to do. So with our phishing defense tool, it's AI powered. So really what it's going to look at all of the data points on an email, and it's going to determine what is suspicious or malicious. So if we see an email coming into your email tenant that is coming from a suspicious location or from a suspicious IP address or from a sender that's not known by your organization, or if it has any malicious links or URLs, then we can automatically quarantine that email as soon as it hits that user's inbox. So not only will this be able to prevent for just phishing attacks, but think about business email compromise or any sort of executive spoofing or any malicious links or attachments here associated with that email. And this is going to work with 3 layers of defense here. Um, so the first layer of defense here, it's the AI component, which is the trust graph, which is really going to look for all of those email anomalies to see if anything is suspicious or malicious. The second piece here is going to be our employee shield. So we're going to display interactive banners at the top of the emails to say in the event if the AI doesn't automatically quarantine the attack at the first layer of defense, then users are still going to know what to look out for. So users will have a warning banner right at the top, and they'll have the option to mark it as spam, mark it as phishing, or mark it as safe. So that way you have that second layer of defense and also be able to quarantine those too. And lastly, the third layer of defense here is called Fish 911. So with Fish 911, with the integration that we do have within Microsoft and Google, with the report message button, users can report any email, and then that will send out an instant email alert over to the administrator of graphics to determine whether or not they can further investigate, keep it in quarantine, or put it back within everyone's inbox as a false positive here. And on top of that, this can also be used as a personal gray mail filter. So in the case if you have a lot of spam or gray mail coming into your email tenant, you can be able to block out certain users by domain or sender profile too. And how this compares to other similar security solutions out there in the market. So how this compares to like secure email gateways. So since this is an API based solution, this is a solution that can connect right with your email tenant in the span of a couple minutes. All that requires is permissions to your M365 or Google Workspace environment. And with that, you don't have to set up any additional, blacklisting or whitelisting, because the AI portion is going to be able to work for you and be able to adapt to see what is normal within your environment here. So it's really a solution that's kind of plug and play. So once you have it within your email tenants, it's going to be able to start working and then be able to block out anything that is suspicious. And the last component of Prevent is going to be the dark web monitoring piece. So in the event, if you want to be able to see if there is passwords for your organization that be maybe floating out there in the dark web or personal identifiable information, this is what our dark web tool is going to be used for, because typically 60% of the information available on the dark web can potentially harm enterprises here. So with that, we have a 24/7 analyst team, and we also do have proprietary technology as well that's able to go all the way back to when your email domain was first created to define any historical compromises as it relates to those password hits and that personal identifiable information like credit card information, bank information, and even medical information here. So once we find it, we're able to link that right back over to your organization, and we're able to notify you within 24 to 48 hours. So with this, it's able to also extend to every threat intelligence there to be able to notify you on these particular compromises. And with this, you're even able to extend this over to your close vendors or contractors. So we also do have supply chain monitoring. So you can be able to add in any close vendors, email domain. So if you have a suspicious email that's coming from one of your close contacts over from another organization, you can also be able to quickly see if they have recently been compromised here too.
I just want to kind of sum that up. So if you're already doing business with us, your PCs are already protected. But the next step is educating your employees on what to do and what not to do. And then also on the back end, monitoring their email, because that's, the only real way that an attacker is going to get in at this point. So there's nothing that should be stopping us from empowering the employees and letting the AI learn how the mail works, right?
Yep, right on money there. All right, awesome. So with that, we're going to go ahead and jump on to the response side here. So the response side is how we're going to be able to catch user interactions here in real time. So in the event if our preventative measures wasn't able to stop an attack, we can catch it right at the scene of one. So what we're going to have here, we're going to have a cloud detection and respond tool that's able to analyze and give you alerts for any type of user activity. And this is one of the components that can not only just monitor Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace, but it can also monitor other SaaS-based applications. So a few tools like Okta or Duo, Dropbox, Slack, and also even Salesforce. So once we are able to get one of these events, let's say, for example, if there's a brute force login on a Microsoft 365 account, we can be alerted based off of that and be able to trigger response rules automatically to be able to expire the account session and be able to block the sign-in access there. So with this will kind of operate as your own automatic SOC analyst for your SaaS apps that will be able to not require any sort of human interaction and be able to do everything once you have set up those automatic alerts and remediation there within the platform. So this is also going to provide a 24/7 protection too. So you can be able to set up these rules and configurations, and this can even optimize your Microsoft 365 environments, because one of the modules within inside the cloud detection and response platform is able to recommend the most effective Microsoft 365 configurations for your tenant. And with this, you're also able to have proactive reporting as well, so you can see all of the user activity related within there from every single security incident within inside all of your SaaS apps. For example, within Microsoft 365, you can see if users are externally sharing any file events, or if users are changing any documents inside Microsoft 365, or if a user has an email forwarding rule that was maliciously set up there. We can be able to sense for that and be able to notify you in real time. And that kind of brings me to the conclusion of the respond piece there. So on the recover side, so this is going to be backup for Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace. So this is going to be a cloud-to-cloud backup solution. So it's going to come with the storage all inclusive. And what we've realized is that, of course, Microsoft and Google Workspace, that they typically have at least a 14 to 30-day retention policy. So if you ever delete anything, or if anything is maliciously deleted, then anything that is in the recycle bin will be permanently deleted after that time frame. So with a backup solution, with us having a limited retention, you can go back to any date and time to be able to recover. So if you lost a file a couple years ago and you had the platform, you can go back 2 years ago and be able to restore it right back into your email environment. So not only is this just email, but it also covers OneDrive, also SharePoint, and also Microsoft Teams. So in this event, we're also going to come with the storage all inclusive, since this is all cloud to cloud. And this will allow you that capability in the case if you do experience any sort of ransomware or security incident. Since we do multiple snapshots, you can be able to get any clean version of that file or email. So that way you can know that all of your content is safe when you are trying to recover that information. And to kind of go over a few features. So these are going to be automated daily backups. So we're always going to get 3 automated daily backups. So we're going to have 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, and 1 at night. So that way you can be able to recover from multiple snapshots during a day. You can also run on-demand backups if you need to. So if you needed to run a backup immediately, you can be able to run it, that manual backup on that particular user on that account. We also have granular search functionality. So if you wanted to search by subject, sender, keyword, or by file and folder name, that allows you the capability to do so. And we also have end user self-service feature. So if you wanted users within your organization to be able to restore their own content to their email account, they have that flexibility if you want to have that option enabled here. And information on our data centers. So we do have a 99.9% uptime SLA, so we can guarantee that data will always be readily available. And all of our data is also encrypted as well. So that way you know your data is going to be safe when it comes to the data being restored and being backed up within our data centers. And of course, we have multiple data centers across the globe. We have a couple here in the USA, also Canada, Europe, and also the UK. And we also meet certain compliance measures. So when it comes to maintaining HIPAA, GDPR, or being NIST compliant, we can also be able to maintain for those measures when it came to data retention and compliance here. So that kind of brings me to the conclusion of the individual modules and components of the subscription. And my last piece here, I wanted to go over how this will play into the cyber insurance fast track program. So we are partnered with a third-party company called Cysurance, where if you have every single one of these modules, and 3 of them we have here within the components that we actually just went over here, then you will be automatically qualified for $1.5 million in cyber protection. And with this, you're able to be pre-qualified for this, so you don't have to go through any sort of additional paperwork if you do have these solutions here within the stack. And with these cyber insurance policies, they're typically around 20 to 40% less than the typical market rate when it comes to cyber insurance. And with that, that will kind of bring me to the conclusion here of everything. Been been a pleasure being able to go through this PowerPoint and demonstration here with everybody. And I'll go ahead and I'd love to kick it back over to the floor with Aaron here to go over any next steps or any final questions that you guys may have here.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Marcus. And just to be clear, if you're already a customer with Business IT Solutions, you already have those first two pieces of software in place. So whatever Marcus just went over just now in the meeting, you would be eligible for the cyber insurance protection. So thank you, everyone. I know it's a little stiff, but this is the first one I've done. So thanks for hopping on the webinar. I truly appreciate it. And I hope the information that was shared today was valuable. And I will be reaching out to you, or you can reach out to me if you want to, discuss these products more or get something going as far as employee protection and email protection. So look forward to seeing you guys on the next webinar. And thank you again, Marcus. Adios.
All right. Pleasure, everybody.